What's up, Conquerors? We're going to do a coaching session today. And we're going to look up our friend Lardy. So, ranked current season right now, he's gold 3, played 55 games, 52% win rate. So, it's about the same he was last season. Doesn't look like he really played solo ranked before that, but played 158 games last season, got to 51% win rate. So we're going to take a look at one of his games, see if we can just give some tips, suggestions, kind of broad strategy, key takeaways on how to get a little better and get to platinum. So we're going to watch a game of where he's playing Delhi Sultanate, plays a lot of Delhi Sultanate, and we're going to watch the game against the Mongols, which, you know, I know a lot of people have trouble with playing against the Mongols. So I do play a pretty good amount of Delhi Sultanate. And we're going to leave reveal map on just selected player right now, just to kind of see his scouting pattern, what he does here. So opens with the mosque. That's pretty normal. Again, I don't really go through and tell people what build orders to do, but since I play a lot of Delhi, it's generally something I'll do. So yeah, one tip with the Delhi is you don't actually have to drop off the wood at the town center. If you just use all your villagers to build the mill, they'll drop off all the wood at the mill. Just a small tip. So yeah, I want to queue our upgrades as soon as the buildings come up. So mill comes up, want to hit wheelbarrow immediately. So I'm watching you here. Yeah, you get it. I know you were probably scouting, and so it delayed you a little bit. So Scouting Falcon goes down on our town center, and you're going to start rallying out to gold. And very interested to see here if the Mongol attacks in Dark Age at all. Looks like he's not, just based on how much wood he has. And we'll speed things up here and go into caster mode. So you're getting your upgrades, which is good. Been constantly producing villagers out of the town center, also good. Looks like you've gotten a decent amount of sheep. The great thing about playing Delhi is you want to get as much food from these berries as possible and keep grabbing food on the map before you ever go, back to your sheep. So, just gives you a little bonus against these guys. He's going deer stones. So, a lot of people go deer stones these days. I don't personally as a Mongol main, but a lot of the time me and said they're going to make Mangadai, so just kind of a key thing to keep in mind is you always want to scout what landmark they're going with. That can a lot of the time show you what strategy they're going to use when they get to feudal. So you're going Dome of Faith. I play a lot of Tower of Victory with Delhi. Both are totally viable options. A lot of the guys better than me seem to be doing Dome of the Faith these days. And I assume you're going to pump out Scholars, grab Sacred Sites, get your text fast. And when we age up, we want to see all the technologies come through. And we start grabbing Sanctity, double Broadaxe. You switch to Horticulture, which is good. And you're getting all your upgrades, so that's great. So we can see he's going Barracks Archery Range. And hopefully you scouted this. You have your scout out here, so you should be seeing it. So you're going into Ghazi Raiders, which is very normal. And I think that's fine, but you've scouted and now seen that he's going Barracks Archery Range. So you're going to need to lean heavier into your archers here than your Ghazi Raiders, because he's making Spearmen. Your Ghazi Raiders can't do a whole lot. And here come the Spearmen. And you're throwing up your range, so let's see, you already got your Blacksmith. And Normally I would get +1 damage first, but it's fine. As long as you get the two range first, that's totally fine. And let's see how these first couple engagements go, because he's gotten spearmen that you can't actually push off right now. So, his base is actually pretty secure. You actually can't get any raiding in here, and that's just... The Mongol guy got lucky with the spawn where he could put the gold right by the... or excuse me, where he could put the town center by woodline and gold, so it's just unfortunate for you. But we never really want Ghazi Raiders sitting at the base, right? Like, Ghazi Raiders are raiding units. So in a normal game, I'd love to see you out here on the map with them. Because one thing we could still do is as he rallies these units out, you can try to see if you can just pick off an archer. You know, like if he's rallying guys out to your base, just see if you can pick up one archer and then head back to base. So right now, he's going archer spear. You just need to mass produce archers, which I think you're starting to do now. You don't even really need more Ghazi Raiders at this point. And we just don't... So, one, I play a lot of Mongol, and I'm very good when I play Mongol against Delhi. And part of the reason is Mongol will try to force you into a fight early, okay? So your army is going to outscale the Mongol guy, but the Mongol guy is going to have a stronger army at the start. Because he can do the double production with stone, he's a bit faster than you. So he's pulling you into a battle here that you don't want to take. Like, you want to get a mass of archers and Ghazi Raiders and then take this fight. Like, you don't want to lose numbers early and let it snowball, so... Yeah, we lost Ghazi Raiders unnecessarily to the spears, so don't want to do that. And again, we need to mass archers, right? He's got 9 spearmen. So, as many archers as you can build right now. You're floating some wood, so I would advise throwing down a second archery range. There it is. You're throwing it down, just as I say it. And, wouldn't be terrible to... You have 5 scholars right now? Actually, where are all of your scholars? 1, 2... You have a 5th one on the army, that's fine. I mean, I would garrison all of them into the mosque right now, so... Again, we want to build a mass, so you're sending your scout out to scout. You want to pull him by the Uvu again and see, okay, has the stable gone down? Because if he enters Keshiks into the fight, the dynamic changes. But he's just spear archer right now. You just need to make as many archers as possible. That's all you need to do right now. So, again, we just don't want to lose units here. We don't... He fights under the town center. We'll slow this down to 2 speed, so... I think you're catching him here. You're getting your archer mass. You've killed units. You have more destroyed value. Obviously, he's going to start ramming some stuff down. And at this point, with the damage you've done, I think you could push these guys off with the archers and then use the villagers to kill the rams. So the easy way to see how many units someone has, having your scout nearby, and you just select like this, and you can see 6 archers, 5 spearmen, you got it. And so you do the right thing here. So what you want to do behind this, sorry that popped up for some reason, is since he's taking down your unit producers at the front, start throwing down more at the back. So like this situation, I'd take a villager, start building an archer range, take a villager, start building a blacksmith. I mean, you have a lot of wood in the bank. Like, you could throw down 2 ranges, stable, blacksmith or 2, and you'd be cranking. So this is a good fight for you. This is a very good fight. He invested 600 wood into these rams. You killed all of them. And generally, when you wipe out the entire army like that, now you want to counter push. And so I'd like to see these archers push towards the enemy now. And he might be scaling the castle, which I guess we're going to find out in a second here. But see, we need a scout. Probably need to rebuild our scout so that he can accompany the army. And I don't like that you're building spearmen right now. So the reason I'm going to say that, it's not that you won't possibly need spearmen in the future. It's that, you know, you haven't, as far as I know, you haven't scouted a stable, and he hasn't made horsemen or keshiks. So spearmen can't really do anything here but just die. Like, the archers are going to shoot them. So again, until you scout a stable or you see a horseman or a keshik, you don't need to start making spearmen. Now, if you see it, by all means, start making spearmen. But right now, you need archers, and you killed his whole army right here, and so you want to counterattack. It's like a swing of momentum, right? Like, he went in on your base, lost everything. When that happens and you still have an army, that's when you want to attack. You don't want to let him rest and recuperate. See, and he doesn't have what he needs to fight, right? So he's running away. So another thing I guess I want to talk about is now that you're out on the map, what's our win condition with Delhi? And you have 5 scholars, and you should be going for sacred sites right now. It's like, you should be sending 1 scholar to every single sacred site right now. Not just 1. And he's going up to Castle. So he's on 2TC Castle. So this, again, your scout's dead, I think. And this is where it's very important to have a scout. If you were scouting the enemy base, you would see that he's going up to Castle. And honestly, if you're playing Delhi, depends what he goes into. I like the raid back here near the berries. If he goes into like full men-at-arms or something, like, you're going to have to scale up to Castle yourself and get crossbows. So there's a couple way it works with Delhi, which is if you go hard and feudal and you capture the sacred sites early, even if someone goes Castle, you can try to hang on and win. Because there might only be like 2 or 3 minutes left on the sacred timer, right? But the chances of you getting the sacred sites now and holding on for 10 minutes in feudal while he's in Castle are slim to none. So capturing the sacred sites is still important here. I'm not saying it's not. But you're going to have to scale your way to Castle as well. You're floating a ton of wood. Again, I'm going through a lot of things here. So my God vision, it's easy to see things and easy to point them out. And when you're actually in game, like, a lot's happening at the same time, right? So I'm not expecting you to be perfect on these things. I'm just pointing them out, and so that you can think about them in the future is all. So floating a lot of wood, and anytime we're floating wood, I do it all the time. If I have 1,300 wood in the bank, I just say, all right, I'm selecting these 12 villagers, and I'm building a mill out here, and they'll start getting berries. I just start taking guys off wood. I don't want to take everybody off wood, but I'll start moving guys off of wood. So now he's going into full stables. And so if we're scouting properly, we will see that he's going into 3 stables. And now is when you need to throw down, 4 barracks with the amount of wood you have and start making a lot of spearmen. Also, you can use, with how much wood you have, all your infantry. I do this a lot as Delhi if someone goes Castle Age. And you're starting to do it down here, but not fast enough. Is when I see someone scaling a castle, I will wall the entire map. Because those Castle Age men-at-arms or knights, depending on what they make, it'll seriously delay them getting into you and really kicking your butt. So it's pretty important. Luckily for you, your enemy has gotten no Castle Age upgrades. So that's great. He hasn't moved his Krulatai. He has no Castle Age upgrades. But you need to scale to Castle yourself, right? I don't think, I think in this scenario, I don't think dropping 4 Rams is the right decision because he's in Castle Age. I think again, I think our, let's see if I can switch to this regular UI. Yeah, so you haven't scouted his base in quite a while. You did scout the second town center, which was important to scout. You see some guys on berries there, so you haven't scouted the stables though, which is, that's going to be pretty key here. So I guess a couple things. One is, you know, the Mongol dude's out of sheep at this point, so he's got to be, well, mostly out of sheep. He's going into pastures, but he's likely got guys on the map. You actually see these with the archers, so I'm interested to see if you shoot these. Yes. I would have pulled all the archers. So I have a tip on this. I wish I could reverse a bit. I would have pulled all of the archers here, and I wouldn't have shot from here. I would have walked on top of them and then started attacking. Because once you've, like, if you move your entire archer mass onto these villagers and then start shooting, he doesn't get the attack notification until that point. So let's say he gets the attack notification right now and starts running. Well, we've got 12 archers over here that are not attacking villagers. So if we had taken all these guys, plopped them onto the villagers, just walked right on top, shot, one, a lot of the villagers would get trapped by your own units. And you'd have a lot more time that you could shoot them. You can always come back and wall this later. So this is a lot of villagers that you could have killed. And see, most of them are going to get away. So we know he's scaling into Keshiks right now, so I want to see what your response to it is. This is probably the first time you've seen the Keshiks. And you start queuing up more spearmen. And you throw down the age up. Again, if you got 1,700 wood, so you may as well wall this map off. If you had walled this off with units, these Keshiks wouldn't be able to run through and hit your economy. So I know that he broke a couple things up here. It happens. But I think at this point, you might be in a little trouble once this veteran Keshik upgrade comes through. But I guess we'll see. You got the ram push going on up here, but probably not enough units. Yeah, he's gonna come in and be able to clear this up. You do get some Keshik kills. It's just too many for the amount of spearmen that you have up there. So I think at this point in the game's already over, so I don't think I need to watch the rest. And the reason I'm going to say that is if we look at the economy account, he's up 20. And he's in Castle Age. So maybe if you got to Castle here and spammed a lot of veteran spearmen, you can push on this guy. He's just making Keshiks. But it doesn't look super good right now. We want spearmen and crossbows. Oh, you're going elephants. I would actually like to see how this goes. I take that back. So when you hit castle, all of our upgrades should come through. And having played Delhi a lot, I have totally forgotten some myself. And this is something I say to people a lot. If you go to Castle Age, click all your upgrades. So let's see what you do here. So a big raid by him into the woodline, and he's on 2 town centers. So the more, if he's killing villagers, that's putting us way behind, right? And you're floating 1,700 wood, so you could solve this pretty easily with some palisade walls. Obviously, a lot's going on right now with the Keswick raids. You're getting pings everywhere, so that's understandably hard to deal with. Now he's going to transition into men at arms, I assume, or maybe he's making spears for the elephants. So another thing about the upgrades, you just started selecting your veteran spearmen. You have 12 prelates, not prelates. You have 12 scholars. So when we hit castle, you have this many scholars. You should send one scholar to every single one of these relics to pick them up and bring them back. So like you should have probably 4 relics right now. I'm quite surprised he just scaled to Imperial, actually. Yeah, I think he just kind of he tore you up with the Keswiks there. Now his economy is just much stronger than yours. So if I had to take some key takeaways from this matchup, I've played this matchup a lot actually on both sides, and it can snowball pretty hard one way or the other because both end up, fighting in feudal a lot. So I think kind of a key thing with Delhi is getting your mass before you move out. I'm talking early feudal, right? Because when I'm Mongol, normally I force that fight early. And if I can get some good engagements early, then I have the Delhi guy really on their back foot, which is, what I think happened with you. Like, he got some good engagements here early, killed your Ghazi Raiders, you didn't have enough archers, and then he was able to keep you in your base and ram some stuff down. Now, you were able to eventually push that out, but you weren't able to have an effective counterattack. And what his push did was massively delay your sacred site timer. So you didn't get on the sacred sites for a long time, and that's kind of a twofold effect of one, obviously it's a victory condition, and so you weren't able to start your timer earlier. And two, they give you a lot of gold. And so a lot of the time when I capture the sacred sites early, like I throw down a market and buy food with gold because I have that much extra gold from the sacred sites. So very important to see what he is making as units rather than, I don't want to say blindly because you scouted it, rather than like I make spears or I make archers and Ghazis regardless of what the enemy's making. I want you to work on just like seeing what the enemy is making and then producing a unit, right? It doesn't mean that you can't make like 1 or 2 Ghazis straight off the bat for raiding purposes. I think that's great. But if you see him throw down a barracks in a range, I would be throwing down multiple archery ranges and making a lot of archers. And then when we see him throwing down stables, let's then put down the barracks and start making spearmen. So I think the early game there could have gone a lot better. And based on that, that's how you ended up where you were at. I'm not even sure this guy's plan was to go into town center as much as it was he was just floating a lot of wood and said, I'll throw it out a second town center. So what that did allow him to do was kind of put you on a timer of he's got 2 town centers in economy, right? So like you've got to win the game. Or you've got to try to, put down some town centers or keeps yourself. So you're getting your village fortresses upgraded. Yeah, that's what I wanted to take a look at. I don't think I don't think you started getting any of the Castle Age economic upgrades, which is pretty important. You just want to, as soon as you age up, just go click through every building and select the upgrades. So I think you started getting it on your archers. Yeah, you got it on your archers. You're getting it on your spearmen. Probably want to get it on your Ghazi Raiders, even though you're not, you don't have a lot of them at this point because you were going to elephants. So I think that's probably fine not to get it for now and just make the elephants and get it later. Or you throw down an extra stable and get it. So I think the early engagement and momentum back and forth is a key takeaway for me. And if you had been able to take some better engagements at the beginning, I think you probably would have won this game. Second key takeaway is you float a lot of wood. And I mean a lot. It's been for quite a while that you've been floating a lot of wood and you haven't had much food. And all you've needed to do for a long time was, select 10 villagers from the wood line and move them out to deer, move them out to berries. And that would have, the efficiency of your economy would have been so much better. You would have had so many more units to fight, would also have been a big turning point in the game. It doesn't seem like it is, but can you imagine if you had, instead of floating 2,000 wood, 1,000, 2,000 wood at all times, you had, thousands of more food over time? You would have had a huge army. And what we want to do as Delhi is, it's the Delhi steamroller. We want to make a huge army and overwhelm the opponents. You're kind of doing that right now, 59-9, but he's just got you so beat in economy, he can replenish his forces faster. Third thing, which I don't think it particularly matters at this point, but just the scholars, when you age up to castle, you want to move out and get these relics. 1 scholar per relic. You just select the scholar, select the relic, then shift click him back over here. We'll say a helpful tip for Delhi that I will share with you is never shift click your scholar back onto the mosque because he will garrison it with the relic, which means the relic will not get deposited in the mosque. He will garrison the mosque and not deposit the relic. So what you need to do is just select scholar, click on relic, shift click, right here and have him walk back here. Then you can put the relic in the mosque once he's back. I've done that a lot of times, and it's quite frustrating because you can't figure out where your relics went. Third thing, I would say walls, and this has been a lesson to me a lot of times, is when someone beats me to castle, especially if I'm playing someone like Delhi, I would speed the walls up, man. If you're behind, you need to climb yourself to castle, and someone's hit it before you, and you need 2 or 3 minutes. I would have taken all my infantry and wall. I made as many walls as I could to try to force the Keshiks or Men-at-Arms, whatever he was going to make, Keshiks in this scenario, to burn down all my palisades. If he starts burning down one right here, you're just alright, I'll just do another wall right here. And you can prolong them getting through the palisade for a very long time like that. So I think that would have also helped a lot in this matchup because he wouldn't have gotten some pretty big raids on your economy. He got 23 villager kills, especially on the wood line. So I hope those tips helped. Just let me know if you have any questions or comments. I've played the Mongol Delhi matchup a lot on both sides, and to be honest, I've had a lot of success on both sides of it. Mongol, I'm able to do really well in feudal using Keshik Archer Spear against Ghazi Raider Archer Spear. Like I said, take a couple good engagements early, you can snowball it. And I've had the same thing with Delhi, man. To be honest, it's just I can make such a massive infantry and raid with the Ghazi Raiders. You can just build a massive army compared to what the Mongols can create. It's just you need a little more build-up time than them is kind of the key. So I think this is definitely a winnable matchup for you. Would like to see you mass some army at the beginning, smash the Mongol army, take control of the sacred sites, and boom, you got yourself a win. So hopefully this was helpful, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, everybody.